Hello YouTube, it's Simon from Brickworks. Not used to doing this kind of thing, so excuse all the erms as I pad and try to make up things to say, but we've got a new product on the website recently, and I just thought you might be interested into the process of why we ended up stocking this part, and maybe this problem could help out some other customers. Because it's a little bit of a weird one, but we've got a friend, Dan the Sticker Man, and he came to us with his T3 Westie, and just round the corner, and we were having all sorts of running troubles with it, and it was drawing in air, so we got it on the ramp, and we started looking at the fuel lines and the fuel tank. Now the fuel tank's pretty recent. And we started looking around all the fuel connections, and we were ready for just putting a front to rear fuel feed pipe on it to see if that would cure it, because we'd already been through the usual things like the fuel filter and the little thermo valve on the top, and the connections to the fuel filter. But as we got it on the ramp, then I started looking at this thing, which is the fuel pump for the Eberspaecher. For the Eberspaecher underslung heater. Now this thing's a T3 Westie diesel, so most T3 Westie diesels have got the heater on, and the part number of this thing is 251 261 437D. Doesn't relate to this. This is the Eberspaecher part number, which is 251 50745. Now this thing's held in like a little rubber sling, I suppose, and it fits over here and it fits around there, and it's bolted up with a little M6, and it's just kind of held in suspension, and it rattles round on this. Well, it doesn't rattle round, that's the whole idea of it, that it's suspended from this rubber sling and on the fuel pipes, and it stops it making the horrible ticking noise, and the horrible ticking noise being transferred into the cabin of the vehicle. So you just hear the gentle tick, tick, tick when it's running. So anyway, it was up on the ramp, and we're having a poke around, and started looking at this thing. And as I pulled the rubber sling back, then I could see around this area wasn't too great. So as I took the pump off, I've got the old part here. I don't know if you can see, if I bring that up to the camera. Oh, this is an M14B 1.5 internal thread, and I think this is around about 5mm. And it's sealed by a little fuel filter. But as you can see, as this thing's corroded, it's worn all the way through. So we took the pump off and just fitted a blank to the fuel line and started the van up, and here presto, job fixed, vehicle fixed. So obviously then we need to think of a way to keep this vehicle running and keep the guy's heater running. So after a few phone calls and a little bit of looking around on the internet, we found that these fuel pump spigots are still actually produced. Now the fuel filter, there's a fuel filter inside here, a little gauze, and this does actually have a Volkswagen number, but they weren't available from Volkswagen, but they were still available from the OEM. I don't know if you can see that. So, but it's like what's fitted to the Pierberg 2E carburetor, what's in the fuel inlet, but obviously a little bit bigger. So the fuel filter is available. That's the new one, brand new from Eberspaecher, and the spigot too. Now, I don't know if you can see inside here, but there is a little recess, and if I put it on backwards, you'll see that the filter basket locates in the end of the pump, and this, as you push the fresh filter in, it does actually, hang on, it does actually stand proud. So this this filter is also acting as a seal for when you install the fuel pump spigot. So, with all the horror stories that you see on the internet, change your fuel lines now and another van's gone up in smoke and things like that. Well, we all know that diesel's got a pretty high flash point, and this problem doesn't affect diesels as much as it does with petrols, with vans going up in smoke. But you know, nevertheless, there's motorcyclists on the road and they don't want to be slipping and sliding around in patches of diesel. And if you've got running problems, I know with the fuel line from the fuel filter to the injection pump, you know, when they're sat there idling and you're looking at it, and you do often see air bubbles travelling up that line, and people get a little bit worried. I mean, you always get a few. It's just the amount of them, and the problem that this van had is that if you revved it hard enough, you know, for 30 seconds, a minute, then we would create a depression, you know, an area of low pressure in the fuel line, and it would start dragging air in. So at idle, you hardly saw any air bubbles coming through. But as the revs and the load increased, then and the pressure dropped in the fuel line, then it started to drag air through, and it's clearly dragging it through these corroded fuel ports. So we stock these now. These are on the website, ready to buy for you T3 Westy diesel Eberspaecher owners, and the filter basket is there as well as a related item. So if you're changing your fuel lines on your Westy, then it's worth a look. It definitely is worth a look. I know I'm going to be looking at my Atlantic in the not too distant future, and just double check my own vehicle, because I can do without being let down by something as silly as that. That was all. Thanks for watching. I'm not going to beg you to like and share. I'm not going to beg you to subscribe. Yeah, it's there if you want it. Hopefully, if you like this one, I shall try and do a few more. That's it. Cheers.